Hardcore. Domination. Spetsnaz operatives. Secure and maintain the objectives. Objective Bravo is compromised. Get it back. We're taking Charlie. Charlie secure. We're taking Bravo.
Go.
I feel so bad to whoever was just shooting at that guy.
We're losing Charlie. Securing objective Bravo.
I didn't mean to like steal your kill or anything. I was just trying to move towards A.
We're
I saw his
taking
leg and I'm like, yes.
We're taking Bravo. Securing objective Bravo. Hostile care package incoming. We're taking Bravo. We control Bravo. Securing objective Alpha.
This one's sleeping. Enemy here.
Go for it, go for it, go for it.
Friendly UAV online. We're taking Alpha.
On your six. Engaging.
We control two objectives.
Sorry to hold that just killed. I was trying to actually like stop you from dying, but I killed you anyways.
Enemies taking Bravo. Objective Bravo is compromised. Get it back. Right here. The enemy has captured two objectives. Get them secure.
Damn it.
Enemy is securing Charlie.
Loading a mag.
Securing objective Bravo. The enemy holds all objectives. Do not fail. Securing objective Charlie.
On your six.
Objective Charlie secure. We're taking Bravo. Hostile Guardian has been deployed.
We've got your six.
The enemy holds two objectives. Secure the positions. Hostile airstrike near your location. We're losing Charlie. Securing objective. Bravo, secure.
And then just push Alpha.
UAV standing by.
I'm with you. Drop one.
Yep, there he is.
Enemies securing Bravo. Objective Bravo is compromised. Get it back. Enemies securing Charlie.
I said just capture. Just push
Securing
the
objective Alpha. We're losing Charlie. Enemies in control of. Regroup and retrieve. We're taking Bravo. We're taking Charlie. Securing objective Bravo. Charlie secure. Hostile UAV in the area.
As soon as we get a second objective, push the third. Because we'll switch spawns,
On your six!
or we'll end up arguing over the.
The enemy has captured two objectives. Enemy UAV active. We're taking Bravo. We're taking Alpha.
Loading a mag!
Securing objective Bravo. We're taking Bravo. We control Bravo. Enemy
Okay,
over
push
1
it
kilo inbound.
immediately. We overwhelm them at A. We might be able to switch the spawns for one,
Enemy
and
is taking
two.
Bravo.
Should be able to switch out other fucking objectives.
Objective Bravo is compromised. Get it securing objective Alpha. Friendly UAV online.
Oh, motherfucker shoved it through a wall.
What's your back? Using thermite! Changing mags!
Enemy is securing Charlie. Securing objective Bravo. Objective Bravo secure. Enemy securing Bravo. We're losing Charlie. Enemy is taking Bravo. Objective Bravo is compromised. Get it back. We're taking Bravo. Friendly UAV on station. Hostile UAV in the area.
I'm loading.
Securing objective Bravo. The enemy holds two objectives. Secure those positions. We're taking Bravo.
Come on, bitch.
Enemy taking missile! Headshot! Enemy in the area!
We're getting hit hard.
To the left.
Hostile remote turret. Deployed. Mission failed. Return to base.
Good game. Good game. Somebody killed my group back there.
usando el baño yo ahora. Vemos en breve.
Ah, dale, lávate bien la bolsita.
Hardcore. Domination. Capture all objectives. Keep them secure.
Enemy fighter here!
We're taking Alpha.
Incoming!
Enemies securing Bravo. We control Alpha. Enemies taking Bravo. We've lost
Throwing
Bravo.
grenade!
Hostile UAV in the area. We're taking Bravo. We control Bravo. Enemy UAV active. Enemy securing Bravo. Friendly UAV online. We have taken the lead.
Enemy!
We control 2 objectives.
Reloading! Throwing grenade! Changing mags!
Friendly UAV on station. Enemies taking Bravo. We're taking Charlie. Objective Bravo is compromised. Get it back. UAV standing by.
That could have been bad!
We're losing Alpha. Friendly UAV online. Securing objective Bravo. The enemy has captured 2 objectives. Get them secure.
Enemy is close!
Objective Bravo secure. Friendly UAV on station.
Behind you! Throwing grenade!
Securing objective Charlie. Enemy taking Alpha. We've secured 2 objectives. We're taking Charlie.
Throwing flash grenade!
Deployed a remote turret. Friendly UAV online. We're losing Alpha.
Throwing grenade!
Securing objective Charlie. Enemy securing Bravo. lost Alpha. Charlie secure. Enemies taking Bravo. Enemies securing Bravo. Friendly UAV on station. Enemies taking Bravo. Securing objective Alpha. We control 2 objectives. We're taking Alpha. Friendly UAV online. Securing objective Alpha. Enemy securing Bravo. Enemy securing Bravo. Lost Bravo. The enemy holds 2 objectives. Secure those positions. Hostile UAV in the area.
Throwing grenade!
In Tipple.
We're taking Bravo. We're taking Alpha. We control Bravo. Taking Charlie.
Target down!
Secure all objectives. Keeping friendly UAV on station. Friendly UAV online. Enemy securing Charlie. The enemy took Charlie.
Throwing grenade!
Enemies taking out.
Throwing grenade!
Objective Alpha is compromised. Get it back. Securing objective Alpha. Alpha secure. Enemy securing Bravo.
Target down!
Friendly precision airstrike inbound. We're losing Alpha. All objectives secured.
1-1
Maintain and
requesting
maintain
recon at
position.
this
Enemy
time.
taking Bravo.
Reloading.
Objective Bravo is compromised. Get friendly UAV online. We've lost Alpha.
Grenade! Bad guys!
Friendly Overwatch Helo inbound.
Incoming!
Hostile care package. Friendly remote turret deployed. Friendly mosquito deployed. The enemy has captured 2 objectives. Get them secure. Hostile airstrike near your
Frag
location.
out! Sniper's down!
Ready to deploy. We're taking Alpha.
1-1 requesting recon at this time.
Copy. UAV is on station. Recon online.
Grenade!
Secured 2 objectives. Securing objective Alpha. We've secured all objectives. Give friendly UAV on station.
Throwing grenade!
Enemy taking Alpha.
Be advised, UAV.
Objective Alpha is compromised. Get back.
Target down!
We've got him on the run. Keep up the chase. Friendly UAV. Enemy securing Bravo.
The only reason you guys won is because my
The mission
teammates
is
were
complete.
trash.
Good work.
Hardcore free-for-all. Weapons free. Engage all threats on target.
UAV is on station. Recon online. Be advised, UAV is exiting the AO.
Time is half over. Maintain the lead.
Fuck, got caught in the reload. Right back at you.
minute remaining. Seconds remain. Seconds remaining. Keep it up. The mission's complete. Good work.
Look, go easy on me, I'm new.
We're taking Alpha. Hardcore. Domination. Capture and hold the objectives. I want them safe. Securing objective Charlie. We're losing Alpha. Enemy securing Bravo. We're taking Charlie. Hostile care package incoming. Objective Bravo is compromised. UAV active. Securing objective Bravo. Securing objective Charlie. We're taking Bravo. Charlie. We're controlled Bravo. Objective Charlie secure. Securing objective Alpha. Hostile SAE near your position. We're taking Alpha. Bravo is compromised. Get it. Ready to deploy. Hostile UAV in the area. Securing objective Bravo. The enemy has captured objective. We're taking Bravo. Securing objective Alpha. Securing objective Bravo. We're taking Alpha. Friendly Mosquito deployed. Objective Bravo secure. Enemy securing Bravo. Objective Bravo is compromised. Get it back. Enemy securing Charlie. Securing objective Alpha. Friendly Overwatch helo inbound. We're taking Bravo.
Got your six.
The enemy holds two objectives. Securing objective Bravo.
Hostile eliminated.
We're taking Bravo. Friendly classified landed. Friendly Mosquito active. Securing objective Bravo. We're taking Bravo. Friendly units online. Securing objective Bravo.
Enemy spotted.
We're losing Charlie. We're taking Bravo.
Enemy KIA.
Friendly Mosquito deployed. Securing objective Bravo.
Hostile eliminated.
We're taking Bravo. Enemy securing Charlie. We're taking Alpha. Enemy UAV active. Securing objective Bravo. We're taking Bravo.
Go.
Friendly active. We're losing Charlie. Hostile UAV in the area. Securing objective Bravo. Securing objective Alpha. Enemy UAV active.
Settle that score.
We're taking Bravo. Securing objective Bravo. We control Bravo. We're taking Alpha. Enemies taking Bravo. Personal mortality is active. Enemies securing Bravo. Friendly Mosquito deployed. Objective Alpha. Friendly Mosquito active. Enemies taking Bravo. We've secured two objectives. Hostile SAE inside. Alpha. Securing Charlie. In the area. Friendly remote turret deployed. Friendly precision airstrike inbound. Friendly mosquito active. We control 2 objectives. We're taking Bravo. We're losing Alpha. Copy that. Friendly mosquito deployed. Friendly UAV.
Why were you shooting my gun
Taking
turret?
Alpha. Securing objective
That's fucking
Bravo.
stupid.
We're taking Bravo. We're losing Alpha.
Teammate killing your own teammate's gun turret. That fucking doesn't make any sense.
Enemy is taking Alpha. Objective Alpha is compromised. Get it back. Securing objective Alpha.
Enemy incoming.
Hostiles deployed the remote turret. Securing objective Bravo. We're losing
What?
Charlie. We're taking Alpha.
I'm with you.
We control Alpha. Enemy took Charlie. UAV active.
In the area.
We're taking Bravo. We're losing Alpha. Friendly cell phone inbound. Hostile UAV in the area. Securing objective Bravo. UAV standing by. Copy. UAV. The enemy holds 2 objectives. Enemy is taking Alpha. We're taking Bravo.
Changing mag.
Got your 6.
Securing objective Bravo. We're losing ground. Hostile SAE near your position. We're taking Bravo.
Go.
Securing objective Bravo. Mission compromised. We failed.
Wait before Hurricane Milton makes landfall. Tampa's mayor told residents Monday night, quote, "If you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die." Milton is expected to make landfall as early as Wednesday night. President Biden has postponed his trip to Europe and Africa to stay in the States and monitor conditions.
Now, I've also surged thousands of federal personnel on the ground across the southeast already and deliver every available resource as fast as possible. And my priority is to increase the size and presence of our effort. And as we prepare for another catastrophic storm about to make landfall.
National Hurricane Center says Milton, currently a Category 5 storm, could be one of the most destructive on record for the Tampa Bay area of Florida. The city has not been directly hit by a major hurricane since 1921. The area is particularly vulnerable because of the risk of storm surge, which forecasters predict could reach up to 15 feet in some areas. That means not even the second story of your home would stay safe or dry. CBS News correspondent Nicole Valdez joins us from Fort Myers, Florida, an area south of Tampa that is also expected to be hit hard by the storm. So are the people listening, Nicole, to those orders that are coming to evacuate?
John, good evening. Most people are. In fact, here in downtown Fort Myers, they were told to get out as of yesterday. And the businesses you see here are just some of the many that have now been not only boarded up and piled with sandbags along their entries, but actually some business owners using spray foam to try to fill in as many gaps as possible to keep that storm surge out. We're talking a possibility of up to 12 feet of that here in downtown Fort Myers alone. Sadly, we all remember what storm surge can do here in Fort Myers. Hurricane Ian destroyed dozens of homes all the way south to Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel Island just over 2 years ago. It's a storm that so many remember still today, and it's really what is making so many take this storm seriously. And of course, we had Hurricane Helene just about 2 weeks ago. So thankfully, that is sort of the fuel to the fire for those who have decided to take this seriously. But of course, there are some who are choosing to stay behind. We met one woman on Sanibel Island earlier today, and here's why she says she's not leaving.
We know that we're staying, and we know that the officials know that we know they're not going to be there. We don't expect that. We don't expect them to be there on our beck and call. I'm not going to sit in a shelter. I'm not going to sit in a hotel, motel. I think that's great if people found places to go and they wanted to evacuate and friends they can stay with. But this is where we want to stay.
Now, John, curfews are in effect tonight for both Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel Island. We have curfews in effect there starting at 10 o'clock tonight. So anyone found driving around or outside after that time could potentially be arrested.
Wow, that person who's staying behind. Tell me, Nicole, what else are officials doing to prepare? They've issued the warnings, they got the curfews. What else are they doing?
Well, of course, you've got the personnel, the equipment ready. We were with the sheriff's office just yesterday who told us about the equipment and the vehicles that they have essentially prepped, fueled up, and ready to go to respond as soon as it's safe to do so. But as you just heard Bridget mention there, she recognizes that deputies are not going to be able to respond to 911 calls. The sheriff of Lee County, Carmine Marcino, told me that much yesterday, saying once they see winds exceeding 45 miles per hour, they pulled their deputies off the streets. And he said, we're not coming to rescue you until the storm passes.
Nicole Valdez in Fort Myers, Florida. Thank you so much, Nicole. In other parts of Florida, the storm is hitting areas where many are still trying to recover from Hurricane Helene. CBS News correspondent Jonathan Vigliotti is in St. Pete Beach, Florida.
And John, good evening to you. This community was in the middle of cleaning up from one hurricane when it was forced to drop everything and evacuate because of another. You're looking at the contents from people's homes stacked 2 stories high. Across this area for miles, you'll find smaller mounds like this. As Hurricane Milton barrels down, one of the biggest concerns, not just storm surge, which could reach 15 feet, but also the incredible wind capable of picking up all of this debris, turning it into deadly projectiles. The mayor here in Tampa saying this was their #1 priority to remove all of this debris, but time ran out. Resources have been stretched thin. About 3 million people in this area under a mandatory evacuation, and many of them are heeding those warnings. I-75, bumper-to-bumper traffic at sometimes as people have been evacuating. You have Tampa International Airport, which closed today. Orlando announcing it will close tomorrow. Officials say now is the time to leave if you've not chosen to evacuate yet. John?
Jonathan Vigliotti in St. Pete Beach, Florida. Thank you, Jonathan.
Welcome to Meet the Press Now. I'm Peter Alexander in Washington with just 4 weeks till Election Day and plenty of action to cover from the campaign trail. But at this hour, we do want to begin with that breaking news as millions in Florida brace for Hurricane Milton that officials are warning could be the most dangerous storm to hit that region in more than a century. And making matters worse right now, the The storm is barreling towards the same area that was hit by Hurricane Helene just a couple of weeks ago. Right now, let's show you Milton. It is a Category 4 storm. Wind speeds nearing Category 5 level. It may weaken as it comes ashore, but it is expected to remain extremely dangerous when it makes landfall along Florida's Gulf Coast, possibly around the Tampa area. The expectation is this will happen tomorrow night. The storm surge alone could be historic, and Milton is expected to remain at hurricane strength as it crosses the entire state. That means it arrives as a hurricane and leaves Florida as a hurricane. And as we speak, millions of Floridians who are under mandatory evacuation orders are fleeing their homes. Others are filling sandbags, you may have seen on TV today, boarding up their windows ahead of what could be catastrophic flooding. This is a time lapse of Milton from the International Space Station today. You can see how wide it is, and it keeps growing in size. 51 of Florida's 67 counties are under a state of emergency. Hurricane and tropical storm warnings extend throughout the peninsula and the Keys. And Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis offered this dire warning just minutes ago.
You should be executing your plan now. If you're going to get out now. You have time today. Time will be running out very shortly if you wait any longer. Of course, there's a lot of mandatory evacs that have been done.
The approaching storm forcing President Biden to postpone a planned trip overseas. He was briefed earlier today on the latest on this storm, and he delivered this message from the White House.
This could be the worst storm to hit Florida in over a century. And God willing, it won't be, but that's what it's looking like right now. I've urged everyone currently located in Hurricane Milton's path to listen to local officials and follow safety instructions. And everybody's heading out. And if you're under evacuation orders, you should evacuate now. You should have already evacuated. It's a matter of life and death, and that's not hyperbole. It's a matter of life and death.
Life and death, President Biden says, also responding to concerns about the spread of misinformation as administration officials keep pushing back on misleading claims about FEMA's resources and its recovery efforts that are being spread in part by former President Trump and some of his allies. I asked President Biden about that issue, and here's part of our exchange.
Sir, what's the risk of political figures sharing misinformation during this time?
But the fact of the matter is, I think we have, I've been able to contact all the governors. They are sticking up for what they've asked for. They're pointing out that they're satisfied with everything they're getting. Look, those who do it to try to damage the administration. Well, we can take care of ourselves. But it misleads people. It puts people in circumstances where they panic. And it really is, it's going to sound, use an old phrase, it's un-American. It really is.
Okay, that hurts. $360 spin, come on! That's what we want! Oh, this is going to be massive, dude! Boom, boom, boom! Oh my god! No shot! Yo, I'm letting it count! Oh my god, dude! Oh my god, that's my biggest win!
Part of my exchange with the president just a few hours ago. NBC's Marissa Parra joins me now from Tampa. NBC's Dana Griffin is in Naples, Florida. And Al Roker has the latest on Milton's track at this hour. Al, we're going to get to him in just a moment. But Marissa, how are the evacuation operations looking right now in Tampa? This is the place likely to be hit harder than anybody else.
Hey, Peter. Well, I can tell you the calm that we're seeing on the ground right now obviously will look so different once Milton does make landfall. But we on the ground, we've been here for a little bit now. We have watched that progression as those evacuations continue. We have seen those clogged highways in one direction, by the way, to higher ground, to safety, whether that's further north, further south, or further on the other side of the coast. But with that, of course, comes all of the traffic. And with that comes concerns about the fuel. We have seen so many posts on social media about exactly that Peter. So we wanted to go and see for ourselves. We visited gas stations around here in Tampa, and what we actually found in that process was this long line of tank trucks. We're talking about these massive fueling trucks waiting to refuel. We spoke to some of the drivers. They said the demand is so high right now. And one of them, I asked him, what do you want to say to people who are desperately trying to make their way further, but they're worried about the gas shortage? He said, hang in there, we're coming. Here's what we heard.
I mean, we went from stations, that would sell normally 1 load a day to 2, 3, 4 loads a day. So when you go from a station that normally sells 8,000 gallons to selling 40,000 gallons, the demand, you just can't keep up. We're just doing the best that we can to try to keep everybody what they need to hopefully be able to evacuate.
And by the way, we also saw state troopers waiting for those fuel trucks to make their way to the highway so that they could escort them. We've seen videos now of exactly that, so they can make it to those gas stations faster. We know that Governor Ron DeSantis has implemented not only suspending tolls, but opening up the shoulder of highways. So again, one extra way, one extra lane, so more people can hit the road faster. But time really is running out, Peter. And what I will say is, in terms of on the ground, something that is pretty notable for me, as I've been here for several hurricanes in the Tampa area, it's usually pretty relaxed here. A lot of times they felt like they've gotten lucky, they've gotten spared, but this is the first time that I'm hearing them say they think that this might be the time that their luck runs out. And I have not come across a single person on the ground who says from Zone A or even Zone B that they are not evacuating. Some of the same people who did not evacuate for Hurricane Helene, they said that opened their eyes. They have now found a way. And even if there's a barrier, I've come across people who had financial barriers, Peter. We know that there are shuttles. We know that there are free Uber rides. So we know that the message has seemingly gotten out to the people who need it. Again, those evacuations, those orders and warnings seem to be heeded here in the area, Peter.
Marissa Parr on the ground for us in Tampa. Marissa, I want to get to our colleague Dana Griffin right now, who is in Naples. Dana, give us a sense, of the situation there. And it's striking. I know we still maybe, just shy of 24 hours out, but to see people just enjoying the beach in this window, and really, frankly, I think they're hoping most people will be making their plan and executing it.
Yeah, Peter, it's very stark considering where you see Marissa is, and people are heeding warnings. They are taking this very seriously. They are taking it seriously here, but it almost feels like it's a vacation for people in Naples, because as you can see behind me, there are at least 24 people here, several surfers in the water, several families coming up. I just spoke to one couple. I said, hey, are you in Naples? Are you in the evacuation zone? Luckily, they are not, but they are in the city, and they said that they are staying put. You've got some other people I spoke to earlier who said they're not sure if they're going to evacuate. And this is why it's so concerning. We spoke with the mayor of Naples earlier today, and she said that they do not have the number of evacuations that they were hoping for initially. She says she hopes that people will be leaving today, possibly early tomorrow. But she says people should be very concerned and pay attention to what's happening with the storm, because although we are miles south, at least 150-something miles south of where that direct impact is projected to hit, we could still see several feet of storm surge flooding in this area. And if by chance that storm were to make a turn, Naples could be impacted on a greater scale. Listen to what the mayor of Naples told me.
Even with Ian, we weren't in the threat zone, and then all of a sudden we were getting a direct hit. So as far as I'm concerned, these storms are unpredictable. So don't think that it can't take a quick turn, and we need to be prepared for that. So these people that have evacuated, they need to stay put, and if you're at home, you need to stay put, because you cannot go out when this storm starts to hit. And the winds are going to start tomorrow afternoon late, and there'll be surges and high tides before then, which will create severe flooding.
There's now a curfew in the city of Naples, and Peter, this beach is technically closed, but as you can see, they cannot enforce it. Peter?
Dana Griffin on the ground in Naples for us. Let's get to our friend Al Roker right now. Al, we just heard from the mayor there in Naples talking about the potential for a late pivot. I mean, you don't know this track until the last minute. We have a pretty good sense, though, of where it's looking likely. What is that track, and when do the hurricane strength winds begin?
Well, they're going to be starting really soon, Peter. And in fact, right now, this is it's 520 miles southwest of Tampa. It's got winds of 155 miles per hour. We're seeing even on the infrared satellite eye developing. And so tomorrow night, we're looking for landfall probably around 11 to 2 a.m. as a major hurricane. Is it a 3? Is it a 4? It's not going to matter, to be honest. The devastating impacts for Tampa Bay and the West Coast are going to be felt. So here's what we're looking at. Between 5 p.m. 4 a.m., the most extreme conditions for Tampa, 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. for Fort Myers, a little further south. Now, the storm surge, 10 to 15 feet right now on the current track with Tampa. But if that moves a little further north, those surge numbers could go up, 9 to 12 inches of rain. Fort Myers, again, that could be the same situation. Now, early Thursday morning, as this system comes across, it's going to still be a hurricane, whether it's a 1 or a 2, still bringing big problems, destructive winds, flash floods. Here's what we're looking at as far as the city impacts. Orlando, 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Thursday, 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. in Jacksonville, and we are looking again 3 to 5 foot storm surge. The storm surge is not a problem, obviously, for Orlando. It's inland, but up to 90 mile per hour winds. And here's the problem: it makes landfall sometime, we said, 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. This system, Peter, is going to expand. May not strengthen as much, but what happens is if it gradually weakens, it's going to increase in size. Right now, about 200 miles in diameter, those tropical force winds. But look what happens when we get near landfall. The wind field is going to nearly double. What does that mean? And when it comes to storm surge, well, the larger storm pushes more water, funnels that into the coast, and that's where you see those storm surge warnings stretching from the Keys all the way to the north of Tampa, Peter.
Al, it's as striking as anything that on this storm, right, it's going to arrive as a hurricane and leave as a hurricane. No matter what happens, the weakening is very limited over the course of the time it takes to pass.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what this means is, as it approaches, these storm surges, as we said, are going to be really destructive. We're talking 10 to 15 feet from Tampa all the way down to almost Fort Myers, 10 feet to 6 feet, Fort Myers to Naples. And as the system exits, we're going to see another storm surge on the backside along the eastern coast. Now, severe weather is always an issue with hurricanes, Peter. 14 million people at risk. The tornado threat is real. In fact, from Daytona Beach, Sebring, Naples, Miami, Key West, all the possibility of tornadoes and, of course, torrential rain. We're talking about in north central Florida Peninsula, upwards of 18 inches. That's a high risk of flooding for Orlando, Tampa, and Sarasota, Peter.
Hi, I'm Natasha with Cricut, and today I'm going to show you how to make this super cute notebook and how to personalize it. There are so many things that you can make with Cricut, and there are so many videos, and you should check them out because you can learn how to make a doormat, how to make labels. There's so many different ideas, and I hope you check them out.
With Spectrum's easy self-install kit,
turn on the anniversary mix.
You can feel at home in minutes. You're not home until you're connected. Get Spectrum.
Yeah, that's a lot of rain expected there, Al Roker. We appreciate your forecast here. We do want to get to Sandra Tap-Fumine. She is the chief of the Sarasota County Emergency Management Team. And man, I've been listening to your announcements to the people in the community there. What percentage of your county is under a mandatory evacuation order right now?
Yeah, well, thank you for having us on, and great opportunity to remind people that they really need to be evacuating if they are in one of those 3 levels. So we have level A, level B, and level C. Really, that's at least half of the county, and that's one of the biggest evacuations, if not the biggest, that Sarasota County has ever called. So that just says how serious the storm is.
Any plans to expand that order, or to those people who may not have received an order, the message to them is what?
Yeah, so at this time, we're working very closely with the National Hurricane Center, and they do not believe that our storm surge threat is going to go higher than 15 feet. And so we feel comfortable with that level C zone being the highest that we're going to need to go. So, we tell people if you live outside of the evacuation level, it's okay to stay put. You don't have to go and evacuate. If you're okay with being out of power for a few days and kind of living in that post-hurricane elements, it's safe for you to stay. And in fact, we want you to take in friends and family who are in the other evacuation areas so that they don't have to go hundreds of miles and contend with all of the traffic across the state.
What worries you about those residents, you say half of the county, who may ignore the evacuation orders that they face?
Yeah, unfortunately, we've seen it time and time again down here in Florida. We've had 3 hurricanes since August here, right? And so we know that storm surge is a killer, and we do not want people to be on any barrier island or in any of these levels of evacuation. It's just too dangerous. You're not going to be able to survive 10 to 15 feet of storm surge. So that really is a big concern.
For a lot of people right now, if they haven't made a plan, if they're in a position to watch us from those homes, what is their window? When is it too late to evacuate? How much more time do you think is appropriate?
So as we're looking at the onset of tropical storm force winds, really we want people to be in there wherever they're going to be going by today, at the end of the day, ideally, but there is a few hours tomorrow till about midday where you could probably get somewhere safely and you'd still be okay. We do have evacuation centers open, and people who are watching can go to our county website at scgov.net, and we have the ability to transport them. And Uber, we just learned, is putting out a free code. So there should be no barriers to people getting to these evacuation centers if they need somewhere to go.
If you're waiting to midday tomorrow, you're really pushing your luck, I imagine you would agree. The mayor in Sarasota tells NBC News that city debris removal is stopped because the dump is closed ahead of Milton. How much debris remains right now? That is really a variable that you don't often face in a situation like this, one storm so close to another.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest challenges. We are literally still recovering from Hurricane Helene. And typically you get, weeks and months to be able to clean up this debris. We had literally a couple of days. And so, we have still some collection teams that are out going curb to curb to continue doing that until we're going to have to shut down operations as the winds increase. But, the great story is we have been hearing some awesome stories about neighbors helping neighbors, getting pickup trucks and helping haul some of the debris over to the landfill. So it's great to see people helping each other, but it is one of those things that we know we're going to have to contend with. There is still some debris left out from Helene, despite all of these efforts to try to get it picked up as quickly as possible in just a couple of days.
Chief, you have a national audience right now. Any other message you think important to share for those people who may not hear it again from you?
Yes, we learned very, very hard lessons during Hurricane Ian in 2022. We have people who tend to make comparisons. What did the last storm do when they came to our area? And we don't want people to do that. Every storm is different. And so you need to listen to local officials. If you're in an evacuation level and it is being evacuated, you need to leave and don't wait. This is the time to do it. It is not worth putting your life and the life of your loved ones at risk. Time to act is now. Chief of Sarasota County Emergency Management, we appreciate your being with us so much. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to continue to track Hurricane Milton closely, and we're going to bring you any major updates as we get them. Also here ahead, coming up just 4 weeks, of course, till Election Day, former President Trump is doubling down on the rumors and false claims about the federal disaster response efforts as Vice President Harris is forcefully pushing back. Plus, new warnings from U.S. intelligence officials that America's enemies are looking to target U.S. elections even after the races are called. You're watching Meet the Press now.
This fall, switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat the price you paid your pro last tax season.
Feels good, it fits right. We say, ooh, that's it. I know it's a new one, lots to improve on. Gotta just take the chance, it's alright. That's life. Let those cycles twist when the highs go dip, then I go. Feels good, it fits right.
Welcome back. With just 4 weeks until Election Day, hurricanes and disaster recovery efforts are now taking center stage on the campaign trail after falsely claiming that FEMA was diverting hurricane disaster resources to help undocumented immigrants and that the federal government was intentionally ignoring Trump supporters in some disaster areas. Former President Trump is continuing to attack the federal response to Hurricane Helene.
So we're into almost $300 billion for Ukraine, and yet they're offering people $750
for immediate needs.
For the worst, but for the worst hurricane that anybody's seen. But more importantly than that is they don't have the people. They're not doing. It's a very bad thing.
Biden said the response has been robust and well coordinated, Mr. President.
Yeah, well, nobody says that. He doesn't know
that's what President
he doesn't
Biden
know
said.
What robust is. You know, anything I do, they'll say, oh, it's political. If I do anything good, no matter what I do, they'll say, oh, he did it for politics. I mean, they could have gotten there way before me.
So because facts matter, to be clear, FEMA says that $750 is an initial direct relief payment for emergency supplies, things like food and water, while they assess a person's eligibility for more money. And a senior FEMA staffer says that the agency has the resources to deal with both Helene's aftermath and Hurricane Milton. Meanwhile, as part of her week-long media blitz, Vice President Harris appeared on The View today and pushed back against Mr. Trump's rhetoric, accusing him of playing politics with the hurricane response.
The idea that somebody would be playing political games for the sake of himself, but this is so consistent about Donald Trump. He puts himself before the needs of others. I fear that he really lacks empathy on a very basic level to care about the suffering of other people and then understand the role of a leader is not to beat people down, it's to lift people up.
Absolutely.
Especially in a time of crisis.
So let's bring in a couple of our reporters covering the campaigns. Aaron Gilchrist is outside the White House. He covers the Harris campaign. Garrett Hake is on set with me here. He's covering the Trump campaign. Aaron, let's begin with you. As part of this media blitz, we also heard her speak about NBC's reporting that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is ignoring her phone calls about the hurricane. What more can you tell us about that back and forth?
Yeah, Peter, it really has been a back and forth over the last day or so with the reporting that the vice president had called Governor DeSantis a couple of days ago. He didn't accept her call, and he said in some interviews that he's done that he didn't know she had called to begin with, and then suggested that her calling him was really a political move because she is the vice president, not the president, and he's talked to President Biden and felt as though he's had a fine relationship in these sorts of situations dealing with President Biden and the FEMA administrator for that matter, but that a call from the vice president served no purpose to him other than potentially a political purpose for her. The vice president responded to that in the interviews she's done today, both on The View and on Howard Stern's radio show, essentially saying that she's been reaching out to governors on both political sides and just to hear about what their needs are, whether their needs are being met, as she says a vice president would do. And she believes it is the governor of Florida playing games by not taking her call, by not being willing to engage with her on what his state's needs are and how FEMA and other parts of the federal government, Peter, can respond.
Aaron, we haven't really seen Harris engage a lot on the misinformation, false claims that Trump has made on Helene before yesterday. Is that by design? Are they worried perhaps that they'll be accused of playing politics by calling out Trump on that specifically?
I think she's been doing that as we've been watching these interviews today, and she's done two fairly lengthy segments with The View and with Howard Stern, and she did address the concerns that she has about former President Trump saying things on the campaign trail about what the administration is doing or, from his perspective, not doing to help people who are dealing with both Hurricane Helene and the hurricane that's to come in Florida. And she called him out as really not being helpful to the process by putting people in a mindset where they think that the help isn't available to them. We heard both President Biden and FEMA leaders say over the last couple of days in particular that they have deep concerns about people not looking for the help that is available to them because they've consumed bad information coming from people like Donald Trump. President Biden alluded to that himself today. And so there's a hope that people will go to, the president has called for this, the vice president has called for it, people will go to their trusted sources in their local governments, for example, to get the information that they need, to get the resources that they need to come through these two storms.
Yeah, Aaron, stick with us for a second. I want to bring in Garrett to this conversation. Garrett, in so many ways, this is just so predictable, right? Like we've seen this in the past with Donald Trump, particularly as it relates to the intersection of disasters and politics. Here specifically, we have seen him again over the course of the last 24, 48 hours, falsely accusing the administration of diverting disaster relief funds to migrants instead. We know there are separate funds that address these two different issues. Beyond that, we've heard about him saying that this response is even worse than Katrina. We got a long way to go on this. Obviously, we both experienced Katrina. That was a one-of-a-kind, awful storm here. But what is the thinking? What is the sort of hope from the Trump campaign in terms of what they get out of this?
Well, look, I mean, I think they want to tie Kamala Harris and Joe Biden together as much as they can, and they want to make it look like this is yet another government failure. Harris's numbers have been improving on basically all the metrics that we poll, whether it's on the economy or who might be more fit to lead. In many cases, Trump still leads, but here they have essentially a new front that they can open up by suggesting, without really any evidence to back it up, that this has been somehow a botched response by the federal government. It's almost as if they're going to put this sort of result out here and wait to see if the facts catch up to it down the line. But as we've talked about on this broadcast before, they are almost impervious to fact checks on this. There's nothing that we can say that will sort of shame them enough into backing off these unproven, unfounded lines of attack on FEMA and on the federal response.
And the challenges we've witnessed with so many others is that this sort of undermines institutions, right? Particularly FEMA, where you need FEMA in a time of emergency, of a crisis. They do have funds, maybe not as much as some may want, but there are funds and they're more likely to be coming here. Are there voices inside Trump world, Marco Rubio perhaps, and others who are saying, hey, just heed the message of the National Weather Service, let the experts do the talking?
I think in the front end of storm response and preparation, you might get some of this, but on the back end, I mean, this is the problem that we've seen within the Republican Party for the entirety of the Trump era. I think there are voices that sort of raise their voice, they raise their hand for a little bit to question this, and then they're very quickly cowed. You know, Donald Trump doesn't want us to believe in institutions. He wants us to believe in Donald Trump. And I think most of the Republican Party, with that election 28 days ahead, is following that lead right now.
Yeah, that's a smart point. Aaron, let me bring you back, and I want to talk again about Harris here, this media blitz we've been talking about. There had been plenty of criticism before that she wasn't doing tough enough interviews, wasn't doing interviews at all. She did 60 Minutes. Donald Trump, of course, didn't. She had more appearances today, The View, Howard Stern. I want to play a little bit of what she said. Listen.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Aaron, I'm struck by that answer because as we were just speaking with Garrett talked about how the Trump folks are trying to tie Harris to Biden, and that, as our reporting suggests, there are some that say Harris needs to distance herself from Biden, at least on some issues. But here, really, she couldn't bring up an example that she thought the two were not aligned on.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the reality is that the vice president has had to walk this fine line of being loyal to the president who put her in the office that she's currently in, but also trying to make sure that she can appeal to people who want something different, who are looking at voting for her, who want something different than Joe Biden. And so I think this was an example of how complex and complicated that can be sometimes. We did hear her say in the course of that response, the fuller part of that response, that one thing she would do differently is she would have a Republican, at least one Republican in her cabinet were she to win the election in November, trying to say that would distinguish her in some way from what President Biden has done with his cabinet. And so it remains to be seen, Peter, whether we might have a moment in the future over the next couple of weeks where we hear the vice president say something much more direct that really separates her from President Biden.
And her argument, as we saw in 60 Minutes, is that she's the candidate who's looking for common ground, trying to find consensus. It's why she says her position has changed on some issues, fracking, immigration among them. Garrett, again to you. The Trump campaign announced a couple of stops this week, one in Aurora, Colorado, another in Coachella, California. Colorado, California, neither one of these places is going to turn anything but blue this fall. Why is he heading to those different destinations?
Well, the Aurora one's easier to explain. He thinks he has a message there waiting for him. He's been amplifying these claims, again, of highly dubious claims about gangs, having Venezuelan gangs in particular, migrant crime, as Trump describes it, having taken over parts of the city of Aurora. It's, again, a narrative he puts out, the facts chase it, and then he can go there and continue to try to highlight something that he thinks will be a defining issue in this race. Coachella, I think this is a little bit of a tougher sell, but the theory, as I understand it, is that they think that this allows them to reach reach the Latino population there, kind of highlight the growing shift among Latino voters towards Trump, away from Democrats, and that, essentially they can make any stop into a national narrative stop. Going to California on a Saturday morning, halfway across the country, I think we can debate the relative utility of that, but it's part of the sort of frame that they want to put on this election about who's supporting Trump and why across the country, not just in the 7 battleground states.
You talk about a candidate's time being their most valuable asset. That's a lot of time on a plane to get out to Coachella, California, but clearly they think it's going to help them in some form. Garrett, nice to see you. Aaron Gilchrist, appreciate your reporting as always. Coming up next right here, new reporting on how some of America's biggest foreign adversaries are hoping to amplify doubts and to sow chaos about the results of the November election. You're watching Meet the Press now. We are live.
This is the story of how Pipedrive can accelerate your business growth, streamlining the process when sales activities feel overwhelming. To help navigate your next move, Pipedrive, driving business growth.
At what point does a salad become a salad? Is it when you add fried chicken, wontons, citrus vinaigrette? Or is it when you top it all with an egg roll? Clearly the egg roll. The Zaxby's Sensation Salad. Zaxby's.
Welcome back. As you know well, the presidential race is going to be very tight, and there is a strong possibility that it takes many days to determine who wins the White House. Now, U.S. intelligence officials are warning that foreign adversaries are going to try to sow doubt about the results. A senior official telling NBC News that foreign actors, including Russia, China, Iran, and Cuba, are going to try to undermine trust in the election process, including by amplifying false claims about ballot tampering and the legitimacy of the elections themselves. And joining me now on set is NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delaney. And Ken, we talk about all the efforts by foreign adversaries to try to, muddy up the waters before the election. This is even after the votes have been cast, but you can see that sort of American purgatory as we're waiting for an answer to who won this thing and have these foreign adversaries engaging all this. We know that officials do everything they can to make us aware of this, but what specifically can they do to try to combat this?
There are things that the intelligence community can do that they don't talk about, Peter. For example, you have U.S. Cyber Command and the NSA out there roaming around the internet. They can take down foreign adversaries' servers secretly. But their biggest mandate really is to get the word out, particularly if there is disinformation that would tend to dissuade people from going to the polls or after the fact, gin up false allegations of fraud. And the problem is, it's not really clear how they're going to do that. I asked the Attorney General at a news conference about a week ago, who's in charge of telling us if a video is fake? And it's not really clear who is. He said it's a whole of government thing. The FBI feels very reticent, particularly when we're talking about Americans spreading disinformation, even if it came from a foreign source. So it's a devil of a problem, and it's not clear that the government has a full handle on it.
And the intelligence officials, as we just talked about, they talk about Russia, China, Iran. They talk about Cuba here. Do they all share a same preferred candidate, a same set of goals, or do they differ?
Interestingly, they do differ. The intelligence community says that Russia definitely prefers Trump and that Iran has a pretty expressed preference that Trump not be elected. China is really just sort of trying to pursue its own interests and playing in state and local races and trying to obfuscate the views of China. But the real issue that they reported on in this most recent thing is, and all three of the adversaries want to destabilize the United States, to sow chaos. And so if there is a big fight about false allegations of fraud, that plays into the hands of all U.S. adversaries.
We talk about the Department of Justice indicting employees of the Russian-controlled media outlet RT, Iranian cyber actors as well. In a lot of ways, I think people here say, isn't that just symbolic? There's nothing you really can do to crack down on these folks. What do they hope to or seek to accomplish by that?
Yeah, so these people are overseas. They're outside the reach of U.S. justice. The main thing they're accomplishing is essentially issuing a press release laying out the facts of what happened there. It's much easier for them to do that in an indictment that goes into court than it is for the CIA or the NSA to declassify their intelligence reporting. So the Attorney General was very frank. I asked him about that as well. He said that is the main purpose of these cases, and they may do more of these because it's the best way to get the information out to the public.
To communicate to the American people, here's what we're doing on your behalf, and here's what you need to be aware of going forward. Ken Delaney, I appreciate your reporting always. Thank you so much. And after this break, extremely powerful, extremely serious, a live update from Central Florida as residents brace for this monster storm that is Hurricane Milton. We're going to have the very latest again on that track as we wait for a new update at the top of the hour. You're watching Meet the Press now.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Wix gives you the power of AI to build the website you need. With full business functionality and a design tailored just for you. Customize every element of your website and watch your vision come to life in minutes. Control everything from the biggest tasks to the finest details. Personalized, optimized, ready to go live.
Welcome back. At this hour, we keep monitoring the path of Hurricane Milton as it barrels towards Florida's west coast, and it is expected to remain at hurricane strength as it crosses the entire state. This, as you see, is a massive storm. Take a look at this video. It's NOAA's hurricane hunters flight inside Hurricane Milton to collect data. I've flown with these guys before. They are brave, and what they do is critical. You can see the plane violently shaking and objects flying as a result of the storm, creating serious turbulence on board. When I was there, I remember the pads on the ceiling. Joining me now is NBC News national climate reporter Chase Kane. He's in Orlando, Florida for us. Chase, Orlando is forecast to get some major winds and flooding. Are people there taking this sufficiently seriously right now in terms of preparation? What are you hearing from people on the ground there? Candidly, I have a bunch of loved ones in the Orlando area, and they realize this is a whopper coming.
It sure seems like it, Peter. I mean, there has been a lot of interest. I mean, hours-long lines to get sandbags here in Orlando and Orange County. You know, they remember what happened a couple years ago with Ian when this area got 13, 15 inches of rain, and there were hundreds of people who had to be rescued from their homes and from these fast-rising waters. They also know that just, a regular storm that comes through and dumps a lot of rain will flood certain parts of the city. But Orlando is also the place where a lot of folks from the Gulf Coast, from the west coast of Florida, are evacuating too. We talked to one family that decided to evacuate here from Port Charlotte because they stayed for Ian. They wish they hadn't. They also had water within just a few feet of their front door from Helene a couple weeks ago. So they said with Milton, not taking any chances.
I have my elderly parents. I have a young child. So the decision to go, we might be inconvenienced, but we're going to stay alive.
It's very scary. With the storm surge, they say that it's unsurvivable. And that's enough to scare the pants off you. Homes can be replaced, but lives can't.
So you heard from them there. They decided to evacuate, and there are not many rooms left here in Orlando. Just farther up to the north in Jacksonville on the Atlantic coast, no hotel rooms left. So people may be driving into Georgia if they're still looking for a place to stay, Peter.
Obviously, Chase is one of the most powerful, one of the most preferred destinations, favored destinations in the country right now because in part of those theme parks there. Any word from them and their status in the coming days?
Yeah, just a little while ago, Disney World announced that they're closing down early tomorrow afternoon. That's the same time frame for Universal. They're also closing early tomorrow afternoon. SeaWorld, Busch Gardens closed tomorrow. And in the morning, Orlando's airport is going to shut down to commercial flights so that they can keep the airport available for emergency aid, for relief, for basically like emergency services after the storm passes through. So things are quickly starting to come to a close here in Peter as the storm approaches.
Yeah, you can imagine them relying on the folks in Orlando to help bring the resources they need in and taking them down I-4 over to Tampa if that area is hit as badly as we think as it may. Chase Kane with your reporting in Orlando. Chase, thank you so much. I want to bring in former FEMA administrator and former head of Florida Emergency Management. That is, of course, excuse me, Craig Fugate. Mr. Fugate, I appreciate your being with us. Florida is still dealing with the debris removal while also bracing for another major hurricane. Can you talk about the unique challenge that is causing right now, all that leftover debris from Helene and how it can complicate the efforts and even the search and rescue operations that are likely to begin as soon as Milton passes?
Well, I think the debris is just going to add to the complexity of recovery from this storm. As Milton comes in, some of this debris is just going to get mixed in with new debris. And as long as people have evacuated out of those areas, I'm less concerned about that. I think for Florida, this is really, we saw this in the 04 hurricane season where you're having to go from storm to storm and you're having to focus on life safety, and getting infrastructure back up and then resetting before the next disaster.
And that's what's striking as we talk and we show our audience some video right now. We're looking at pictures as people get out of town that looks like it's after the storm already came, with all that debris just lining the roads there, potential to become projectiles that are hitting buildings, homes, flooding alongside the waters over the course of these days. We've talked about the National Hurricane Center, Administrator Fugate talking about this extreme rapid intensification, the likelihood that it will expand in size as it approaches. What does that tell you about what the damage is likely to look like? What in particular we're going to be dealing with here?
Widespread, and again, people need to focus on the impacts. We talk a lot about Tampa, but we also need to be talking about Sarasota and Manatee and the counties south of there, as well as you point out in Orlando. This storm is forecasted across the state as a hurricane. So not only are we going to see the coastal areas getting impacted with storm surge, we'll have hurricane force winds over much of the peninsulas across the state. That leads to widespread power outages, trees down, impassable roads, and extremely heavy rainfall. So this is what you would, when you talk about hurricanes, this is basically all of it. Most important thing right now is the evacuations in the coastal areas, people getting ready for the storm as it gets there tomorrow, being prepared for extensive power outages, and for a lot of people that are not in evacuation zones, treating this like a tornado, knowing the safe place to go in your home with your supplies and your family to stay there during a storm. And unlike a tornado, which is over quickly, this is going to take hours to move through your community.
You're talking about Orlando there. My in-laws live there. We had this conversation over the last several days. We made a plan. They're executing it today right now. But you're right. In all the years they've lived in Orlando, a lot of times they're in the cone. They get some of the rain and some of the flooding. But here they're going to get those hurricane force winds likely, as you note here. The director of the GAO's Homeland Security Team, Administrator Fugate, raised concerns about staffing at FEMA, saying that the agency is pretty low in people and that the impact it could have on morale could be significant. What are your concerns as it relates to the severity of the staffing shortage, and can FEMA handle that strain?
I think the General Accounting Office puts this report out every time there's a big disaster. FEMA's always had challenges with being staffed at what it says it needs at the full level. But in responding to disasters, they have the flexibility and the ability to pull people from other parts of the country, other parts of FEMA, as well as other disasters that are more stable and older to focus on the initial response. So this isn't going to affect the initial response. What it does do sometimes is slow down recovery in other disasters. And we already know that those older disasters are going to need Congress to provide more funding to do the permanent repairs and rebuilding.
And Minister Fugate, you know how critical those touch points are when the FEMA folks connect with the citizens on the ground, the victims who need your help right now. I know you're in the business of information, not of politics, so I want to be careful in how I ask this. But what concerns does it raise for you, without assigning blame to any individual here? What concerns does this rise in disinformation and misinformation raise in terms of the ability to get those people who need care, recovery, relief, the information, the details, and the access that they need to that?
When I was at FEMA, we accepted we were going to get criticized, and sometimes, we could do a better job. But what really concerned us was when the information was telling people not to apply for assistance that they should have been applying for, and slowing down the recovery. And I think that's the concern we have, and that's why I think FEMA's doing a lot of work trying to get the information out there, that they do have the money. They are able to do the initial response to these disasters. There is assistance for people who don't have insurance. And as the disaster unfolds, how to get that assistance. And there's a lot of noise out there. And I'm afraid that the concern is when people don't apply for help they should have been applying for, they somehow misunderstand that their eligibility, and they miss that opportunity, because it's going to be critical for a lot of families to begin their recovery after the storm with that financial assistance.
Craig Fugate is a former FEMA administrator joining us here live. Mr. Fugate, I appreciate your time and everything you're doing to help the folks in that community. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Still to come here, the state of the razor-thin race for president and the fight for Senate control. Just 28 days to go. Our panel is next. You're watching Meet the Press now.
Supercharge your business with the all-new Shopify Point of Sale, the all-in-one POS solution built on the world's most...
Welcome back. As we have noted, 4 weeks to Election Day, believe it or not, and we have new polling from the New York Times and Siena College. It shows Vice President Harris with a slight edge against former President Trump. Those numbers notably are well within the margin of error. You see the 3-point advantage she has right now. But the
because of the extent of the Arab and Muslim population and their vote, a lot is going.
But once again, the current track has it a little bit further south, and so it has offshore winds for the Bay Area. So right now, if the current track holds, we will not see surge in Citrus. We will not see surge in Hernando. We will not see surge in Pasco. The only surge we'll see in Pinellas is on the eastern edge from the water that's already in the bay, getting pushed closer to the eastern edge of Pinellas by those offshore winds. And so it would be a manageable amount, nothing like the 10 to 15 feet that we're going to expect for parts of southern Manatee and Sarasota counties. That's where the worst of the storm surge will be, all the way down towards Port Charlotte as well. And so we've got about 5 more minutes. I'm going to take questions for that time. And Ruby says she's in Inglewood, and she's hoping with her little blind dog, and she's hoping for the best and everyone is safe. I think it sounds like you're in a safe area. I hope that it's not too bad of a night for you or your dog. Thank you for weighing in. I hope everyone's safe as well. Thank you, Ruby. And then John is asking about wind speeds again, so we will pop up that wind speed map. So this is the general threat. So this is the worst of the gusts that you may see in the magenta. If you live in one of these counties we have in magenta, it's from, we're looking at 110 miles per hour. If you're in the red, you're looking at 75 to 110 miles per hour. So these are the gusts. And so we can play them out hour by hour. Let me find that map for you here. And so everyone asking about gusts, look at your area, and these are the wind gusts that we'll see. This is at 8 a.m. This is at 11 a.m. This is when probably bridges will start to close down sometime between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. That's probably when we'll get those wind gusts that close the big bridges. And then we start to get hurricane force winds around sunset down in our southern counties. See Venice at 71 miles per hour, but all the rest of us are in the 50s and 60s. 60 miles per hour is considered severe wind, so that's when we start to see power outages. And so wind gusts getting into that severe range for our inland counties by 10 p.m. and hurricane along our coastline from Clearwater all the way down to Venice, which could see 100 mile per hour wind gusts on the edge of the eye wall there. And so that looks like St. Pete goes up to 105 mile per hour wind gusts as the eye wall passes at midnight. Tampa's sitting at 85 mile per hour wind gusts, Clearwater 88 at that point. But even up in Spring Hill, you've got a 77 mile per hour wind gust at that point. It looks like Wesley Chapel 73 mile per hour wind gusts. And so the eye is passing over the Tampa airport, and this one, it brings it down to a 43 mile per hour, but Clearwater's up to 100 on the back end. And we're seeing 97 mile per hour wind gusts in Lakeland and 90 in Wauchula, 70 in Sebring. And then moving out, Lakeland gets under the eye as well and brings those winds down, while Wesley Chapel's up to 100 mile per hour wind gust, 96 in, and it looks like 74 down in Wauchula. So still seeing hurricane force wind gusts at about 6 a.m., but we're down to just severe wind gusts by Thursday morning, and it moves out really quickly, and things get a lot quieter as we move into Thursday night. And so it will bring down that cooler, drier air behind it. So we're going to be in the 60s. We'll end with some tropical takeaways. And so with Hurricane Milton, and the background here is kind of interesting. It's showing off that vertical structure. And so see how the air and energy travels through a hurricane, and that's why shear is so important to it. But the strong winds and the rain arrive late tomorrow afternoon, and so that's Wednesday. Sorry, don't know what day it is. The late Wednesday. And so then the hurricane force winds around 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. on the coast up to 110 miles per hour. Inland could see 90 mile per hour wind gusts. And we just showed you that map breaking it down county by county. And so moving into the rain, we're going to see 10 to 18 inches of rain just to the north of the track. To the south of the track sees 10 to 15 feet of storm surge. And so that's why we're watching these wobbles so carefully. And we have the wobble tracker going on WFLA.com/wobble tracker. If you ever want to check it out on your own, you can kind of see how things are shaping up. But the way that you read this is the line is in dark gray. The dark gray line is the actual path that it took. The past path. And then the little icon is its current position. Then we've got the satellite turned on so that you can see where it's moving along the red line, which is the forecasted track. So you can see it's kind of crossed the line there. When it started at the beginning of this cycle, it was on the eastern edge of the western edge of the line was on the eastern edge of the storm, and now it's the opposite. The western edge of the line is on the western edge of the storm as well. And sometimes it gives us a hint, like this afternoon, that the track might shift a little bit one way or the other because the storm didn't behave as it was exactly forecasted to. And so Adam says he's supposed to fly out of Tampa, but he doesn't update if there be cancellations or delays. Yeah, check with your airline because before the storm, I was actually scheduled to be on vacation as well. So my flight's been canceled and rebooked and canceled and rebooked. And I'm probably just going to end up asking for a refund because I'm expecting to have a lot of fence panels down and other things to do around the house. So I don't think vacation is going to be appropriate at this point. And so one last question there, Disney on the 6th floor, you're fine. I wouldn't be out and about during the storm, but most structures are built to survive the type of storm that we're going to see. So thank you again so much for joining us. We love bringing you this long information Q&A. We'll be doing it throughout the storm as well. I hope that you have a good place to go and you're there. Enjoy the night as most as you can as we head into the evening hours tonight. Unfortunately, tomorrow night at this time, things are going to be getting rocky about this time. So I don't think we're going to get a lot of sleep tomorrow night. I'm hoping that everyone gets a nice
oh boy.
this evening. Thanks again for joining us.
Like normal.
This is a special edition of Top Story. Hurricane Helene, live from the storm zone. Here's Tom Yamas.
And we are live tonight from Tallahassee as catastrophic Hurricane Helene is landfall. This ferocious and extremely dangerous storm reaching Category 4 strength moments ago as it takes aim at Florida's Big Bend. This is a nightmare scenario, especially for Tallahassee. This will be one of the strongest storms to slam the capital in modern history. We're taking a live look now at this bridge which connects Cape Coral to Pine Island. This is south of Tallahassee where we are. You can see the intense waves slamming into the roadway.
Oh, I hate this damn game.
Push waters onshore. This unusually large storm will be highly destructive. The impacts will be far beyond Florida, even as far as Tennessee. As we take a different live look here, a different vantage point. This is the Sanibel Causeway right now live, the roadway which was rebuilt after Hurricane Ian destroyed it. Officials say that widespread devastation along the coast and even further inland. We hope all that rebuilding holds up tonight. Helene expected to bring unsurvivable storm surge, which could reach as high as 20 feet in some places. This dangerous storm set to unleash tornadoes, flash floods, destructive winds, and power outages that could last for days, if not weeks. Right now, 40 million Americans are facing some kind of tropical alert. Look at that, with 12 million inside the hurricane cone. Tropical storm force winds extending a sprawling, get this, 350 miles wide. That's roughly the width of Nevada. This storm will cross state lines, maintaining hurricane strength. So those in Georgia and the Carolinas are bracing for what's to come after tonight. Evacuation orders are
like I said, who cares?
Those who didn't leave are hunkering down and waiting out the storm. New video showing violent waves pushing into Tampa Bay's Howard Bridge. Florida Highway Patrol shutting down major bridges and urging people to stay off the roads. Hurricane-force winds will push ocean waters inland, inundating neighborhoods. The dangerous storm surge at its peak will rise well above a single-story home. Look at that. New video of Sarasota, a storm surge blasting the city, turning streets into rivers there. And this is just from the outer bands. And a reminder, this is just the beginning. At this hour, more than 290,000 customers are without power as the storm moves onshore. Those numbers will rise. And as we near landfall, conditions are beginning to rapidly deteriorate, and it's only expected to get worse from here.
Tonight, that monster hurricane Helene aiming for Florida's capital, destroying these docks as Tallahassee braces for catastrophe.
This area has not had a major hurricane.
Know what it is. All right. We're talking about picture of wall of water. Now, obviously, it's not a tsunami. It doesn't come in 10 to 15 foot. It gradually rises to 10 to 15 foot. All right. But what a lot of people do is they say, oh, well, it's not going to happen to me. Everything's okay. Then all of a sudden, the water's waist deep in their house, and they say, I guess I better get out of here. Yeah, it's kind of too late, unfortunately. So I can't stress it enough. More people that do pass away and die from storms like this, they die in evacuation zones that they were told to evacuate, and they said, well, nothing like this has ever happened to me. It'll never happen. Well, guess what? I'm here to tell you it will happen. I'm here to tell you to head out if you are in an evacuation zone. If you're within a mile away from the coastline, then you may say, I'm okay.
Engage and destroy the enemy.
But is it really worth taking a chance? If you're told to evacuate, there's a reason. You evacuate from water, and you evacuate really from the storm surge coming in. So anybody that doesn't think about it, and so many people don't.
We have taken the lead.
I hate to say it, JB. There's going to be so many people that don't evacuate, and we're gonna count the lives lost because people didn't listen when people told you to get the heck out of there because of the storm surge.
Transition back to showcase some computer models while we do it, because we know that people really want us to hone in on the models and the latest developments with those models. We know that that's obviously a huge focus for people, but we do have a large amount of people that do want to have their video questions answered. So you can send in your selfie video questions to WFLA.com. I will also point this out. Our Tracking the Tropics audience knows that we do this. We will do a selfie segment here in about 20 minutes. And what that means is not a video segment. Here's the rules, because we're going to kind of go into the lunch break here, the lunch hour, which is 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. That's when Eric and I will be stepping away. But in about 15 minutes, what we're going to do is we're going to spotlight our audience, our Tracking the Tropics audience, how the selfie segment works. Just shoot a selfie wherever you are watching from. Include your name or your names and your location, where you are watching from, and make sure that Tracking the Tropics is on in the background. And we will show as many selfies as we can, just to bring some smiles to folks out there. We talk about a lot of doom and gloom here on Tracking the Tropics.
Friendly UAV online.
A lot of doom and gloom when we're talking about hurricanes and tropical storms, but this is a story about people, and we like to show as many of those people as possible on our live stream. People that are staying safe, people that have a plan,
Friendly
people
mosquito
that
deployed.
are watching the show, which means that you are really weather interested and want to be weather aware, and that's really perhaps the first step, is just making sure that you're staying informed to the latest updates. So we like to encourage people being part of the program. You can shoot a selfie, just make sure it has Tracking the Tropics on in the background, on your TV, your laptop, on your tablet, whatever it may be, and we'll, in about 15 minutes, we'll show any of the selfies that are sent in to WFLA.com. Real-time waffle track updates here. People have been paying attention to this on WFLA.com and sending me messages on YouTube Live in the comment section here, Eric, saying, hey, is there developments with
Friendly SAE on the way.
The last couple of frames?
Yeah.
I mean, anything?
Friendly care package on the way.
goes through the cycle. It decreases a little bit, then it increases a little bit in wind speed. But once the eye is more well-defined, and again, that'll probably take place over the next couple of hours. I do think, that's when we're really going to see whether it's deviating. If I were to say if it's deviating, I would definitely say, this definitely looks pretty far south of that. Do you think, JB? In my opinion, it does.
It feels like a wobble.
Yes, it's definitely a wobble. Yeah.
It feels like a wobble. And how many wobbles will we have consecutively? So you see the timestamp there. We're up to 12:30 on that latest satellite image. What will the satellite image look like at 12:40? Correct back onto the until approximately a little bit before 1 o'clock. You take a 1-hour lunch break. The stream will stay up so the chat can stay active, and then we're back at 2 o'clock with the 2 o'clock advisory and sharing whether or not Milton is getting stronger, weakening, turning. We'll have updates in the 2 o'clock hour when there is an intermediary update that comes down from the National Hurricane Center in Miami. Shout out to the National Hurricane Center in Miami. They have a team, of course, working around the clock on this. Forecasters that specialize. If they're watching right now at the NHC, sending you guys all the very best. A lot of love. You guys do.
Yeah, and I got a good friend that just joined their team, Evan. He lives in Pittsburgh, good pinball friend of mine, and he has a house in
time is half over.
Hostile mosquito is online. Cleaning up from Ian, and now has to worry about yet. Yeah, he's working. Hi to him if he's watching.
All right, next up in the queue, let's go to Janelle on Facebook Live. Hashtag KJB Eastern, Pasco County. Will I be safe without boarding up windows? Single parent and no wood to do this.
Yeah, so what I could do is bring up our in-house model in regards to
friendly care package in the AO.
In Pasco, Southern Pasco said so.
Friendly mosquito active.
You're looking like you're looking at wind gusts over 90 miles per hour, so 90 to 100 at least. It really all depends on what kind of windows you have, but I don't know, that's borderline. And if there's a projectile, something that really gets blown around and smashes into your window, then you're really in big trouble. If you don't feel safe, or your house isn't category 2 or category 3, I would try to get.
You're halfway to mission complete. Finish it.
In the queue, Colton. Hashtag KJB. Do you think it has any chance of making land?
Yeah, I think the chance is very, very, very slim. I think it's a greater chance that it would be a strong 2 than right in the middle, a category 3 major hurricane making landfall.
Let's see here. We've got a couple of more coming into the queue, guys. Hot loading in questions with hashtag KJB and hashtag KEric. And all right,
Copy.
Sean.
UAV orbiting the AO. Recon is online.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't like this question. Sean Hall on Facebook Live. Hashtag KJB. Is it possible for this hurricane to come back and hit again? So what's interesting about this, and if you can bring up the track, Eric, it does emerge into the Atlantic Ocean as a Category 1 hurricane.
UAV is exiting the AO.
From there? Where does it turn?
It's basically following a front, and it becomes what we call extratropical, meaning it's
got you covered.
There's no chance whatsoever. It's just not gonna happen. No way.
Switching mags.
This thing's gonna be like. Keep on moving east.
Friendly UAV on station.
Garcia, you're up next on Tracking the Tropics with hashtag for us both. Is there a nearby studio you guys can temporarily move to, or will the entire news team be riding out the stream downtown Tampa? We get this question a lot. Stream center located right on the Hillsborough River in beautiful, right, really on Tampa Bay itself. The river, of course, goes right into the bay.
Friendly care
have a
package
backup
on the way.
location, and decisions being made here, they are fluid, if I'm not mistaken. And so we are streaming until we are given, the notice to.
Friendly care package in the AO.
I mean, our backup location is, I think, not 40, 50 miles inland, something like that.
Yeah, we're not worried about any kind of storm surge.
Friendly cruise missile deployed.
With Helene being so far off the coast, the water outside was 3 feet deep on our streets. And,
Friendly mosquito
we were
deployed.
kind of on an island here. Now, if we added another, that was about 7 foot of storm surge. If we added another 7
1 minute
foot,
remaining.
I think at worst case scenario, water coming in maybe the front doors, right, on the first floor. But this is a 4-story building. Construction is solid, and so we would be fine here on the second floor.
This building is a concrete fortress. It just happens
Right.
to be located in a
online.
really vulnerable spot.
Right, exactly.
And so we are located in the Stream Center on the second floor. Our Track
30
and Drop
seconds
super
remain.
fans out there remember that the night that Helene hit,
Destroy the target.
every power except for this one.
Yeah.
We were on a battery backup that allowed us to not only be live online,
10
but to
seconds remaining.
simulcast on the airwaves, on local TV, on WFLA News, our NBC station here in Tampa, Florida. And I looked back at the video. We showed
The mission is complete.
the entire newsroom
Good
in
work.
dark. It was eerie.
It was something else.
Something we had never seen before, and so or if we're staying here in the Stream Center, our safety is at the top of the priority list, and really the only thing on the priority list when it comes to making sure that employees are being cared for. What I mean is that we're going to do the very best that we can by our staff here, and our signal, we will get it out in some capacity, whether via the Stream Center or the backup location. We're going to do everything we can to stay on, but our safety is
and obviously, while we're here, we're way far away from any windows. We're on the second floor. I'm not concerned about our safety here. It's the power situation, as well as can you get out, right? If this thing does track north and it's 12, 13, 15 foot of storm surge, obviously we'd be trapped, right? JB, we wouldn't be in danger, but we wouldn't be able to get out for a little while. Obviously that surge would recede 12, 18 hours. We'd be able to walk outside, whatever. And we have a huge parking garage here. So our vehicles, and I do stress this because, as people know, I lost my vehicle in Fort Lauderdale last year with a freak 20 inches of rain in 6 hours that just happened to, fall where I parked. So, even in a backup location, I'm concerned that, hey, is my car going to be in the elements? I know here it's going to be in the parking garage, so I'm not worried about it. And I do stress to people that are maybe not in an evacuation zone. Maybe your house is on stilts. Maybe, you're on the second floor, yet your car is at ground level, obviously, and it's outside the elements. And my friend lost his car from Chicago at Redwood Beach. And I'd say, hey, move the car. Oh, it's never flooded this for years. And I'm telling you, this is
Domination.
And most likely,
Secure and hold the objective.
in your lifetime,
We cannot
event
risk
so far.
taking Bravo.
Obviously, we pray that this doesn't continue to happen, but it hasn't happened in so long. And so places that haven't flooded, and you
We
think, oh,
control
my car's
Bravo.
fine, my vehicle's fine. It's no fun losing a vehicle. It takes a long time. You got to rent a car for
We're
several
taking
months.
Alpha.
It takes a long time for that
Enemy
insurance
securing Bravo.
to come in to where you can get another vehicle. It's not worth
We
it.
control
Just
Alpha.
take the time to get your car out of the open, out of the elements, and out of
We've
any
secured the
possibility
lead.
of storm surge or flooding. You got to do it.
Let's see here. Judy is next up on hashtag base Q. Hashtag hey Eric. Is it coming from west to east? It's
We're
actually
taking
now
Charlie.
moving northeast, right?
Enemy taking Bravo.
It's moving east northeast. So east is 90 degrees.
We hold all We've
north,
lost
that's
Bravo.
4 degrees. And, you know, the east is 90 degrees. 5 degrees. East northeast is somewhere and you draw a straight line to the east or to the right, that's 90 degrees. A little bit north of that is east. So it's not moving north of east, it's moving north of east, okay? And according to our wobble tracker, it may be moving straight east because you know, 12:30, 12:40.
We control 2 objectives.
It's looking like, you know, the eye is definitely south of that track. So, you know, whether it's a wobble or it's, you know, a movement, that remains to be seen. But the way I'm looking at it, it's definitely appearing to move to the south of that 4.
Friendly UAV on station. Securing objective Bravo.
And then we've got
The enemy took Charlie. Friendly cell approaching target. Enemies taking Alpha.
The jury's still out on this one, Zach. Which hurricane was the worst to happen? But Milton hasn't even hit yet. So,
right.
But I think the biggest difference, Eric, is that
Milton
We've secured 2 objectives.
North Carolina, South Carolina.
Securing objective Charlie.
But remember, Helene hit such a small population. But again, still affected a lot of people. But this is affecting tens of millions of people. Because not only is it affecting
Enemies taking
Tampa,
Alpha.
it's affecting Orlando. And again, 2 of the 5 biggest cities, right? in
We've
Florida,
lost Alpha.
when you account Miami, Jacksonville. This is affecting more people in Florida.
All right, so maybe another satellite image in here. Nope, still
Charlie secure. Enemy securing Bravo. Friendly UAV online. Bravo.
Kill him! A lot. Bring in your pets.
Securing objective Alpha.
Make sure that you're doing your very best for you, your family, all right.
We control 2 objectives. Enemy securing Bravo. We're taking Alpha.
Just for small. And we will go into the lunch break on this with wfla.com/report it. What we will do now is we will show some of the yeah, this is great. Some of the selfies that have been coming in. This one, we were only doing photos in this section.
Enemies taking Bravo.
Videos. We're gonna do videos.
Get it back. We're taking Bravo. Securing objective Alpha.
Around the area, please include your location when you send in your selfie so that we can shout out where.
Securing objective Bravo.
So, move it all the way up to the start of these selfies.
The mission is half complete.
Oh, man.
The enemy has captured 2 objectives. They're taking Alpha.
JB and Eric, I am 5.5 years old. This is already. Thank you guys for all the reviews. Stay safe. This feels like yesterday for me. And man, 2 hurricanes in 5
Securing
weeks.
objective Alpha.
In 2, like in 12 days or 2 weeks.
Alpha secure.
Boy, what's going on here? Well, I mean, the thing is, you know, we are
Friendly
expecting
mosquito active.
where the station is expected to evacuate to West Virginia. So obviously, conditions, not going to worry about storms. There could be wind gusts well over 100 miles an hour. A lot of rain.
Please be safe. Next up in the queue. I don't know what this. Oh, is that Dr. Strange?
We've secured 2 objectives. We're taking Bravo.
And man, he's got a rat
Objective
necklace
Alpha
there.
is friendly UAV on station.
It is though.
Red. I don't know where that came from.
That's the 80s, 90s.
Yeah. Well, maybe I felt throwback here, and I want
Radical dude.
Yeah.
They're taking Alpha.
I think that's Doctor Strange. Chat, let me know. Am I right or wrong there?
Hostile SE near your position.
All right, this is
Hostiles
securing-
deployed. Charlie. Securing objective Bravo. The enemy will have two objectives. Secure those positions.
Love to see it, family. Do everything you can.
All objectives are held by the enemy. Prove yourself.
Storm sometimes.
Hostiles launch a cruise missile.
You don't really have to kind of hunker down. Obviously, if
Enemy
you're
UAV
in a
active.
place where you're safe. And, play board games. We talked about
Halo? You ever play Halo?
No.
Master Chief, Leo.
That's kind of after
They're
my
taking
Nintendo
Bravo.
time.
Securing
That's
objective.
Master Chief is
Securing
watching
objective
Attack on the
Alpha.
Tropics. In Leo, it says Master Chief hopes
Hostile
everyone
care
out there
package.
stays safe.
Hostile Charlie. Objective Charlie secure.
This is Judith in Homosassa.
Enemy Overwatch Hilo inbound. They're taking Alpha.
See it. Okay. This is Steve.
Control Alpha.
Odessa, 20 miles inland, about 55 feet of elevation.
Wow, that's like mountain around here.
Yeah,
Securing
Yeah,
objective
a
Bravo.
lot of rain, but he's high up.
Stevie live on Everest, Florida.
Enemy securing Charlie.
People are going to come to
We
your
have
house.
taken the lead. Charlie is compromised.
We're coming over.
Get it back.
Vince joining from Palm.
Palm Beach Garden.
Yeah, love to see it. Another big smile from Daniel in Florida's Turnpike to Tennessee. Comment section.
Taking Bravo.
Oh, wow.
Objective Bravo secure.
Yeah, and just so people know, in Florida.
Yeah, thank you, man. Really appreciate you. Solid. Love to see smiles. More smiles, Bobby. In Jacksonville.
We are
Blue
losing
Ball is
Alpha.
what he puts. He says he appreciates all the hard work. He says that he's hunkering down.
Yep. Good.
Let's see.
Secure the lead. We've lost Alpha.
Video.
Just watching from work.
Securing objective Alpha. Taking Alpha.
All photos, but we got a video in there.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I have a good friend that I play pinball with that lives in So, looking at well over 100 mile an hour wind gusts. One thing I do want to stress out is
Friendly UAV
not
online.
stress out, but one
They're
thing I want to
taking
stress
Alpha.
is that there's going to be
The enemy has
rain,
captured two objectives.
especially to the
Get
north
Alpha
of this
secure.
city. There's going to be upwards of a foot of rain in a very, very, very short period of time.
Enemy securing
What we
Bravo.
call flash flooding. There's
Securing
going to be
objective
a
Charlie.
lot of flooding inland north of this storm, and again, it's going to
Enemy's
be
taking Bravo.
way worse. That I've seen rainy season days where you have 60 throughout the day. This is going to be over double that. Inland as the storm moves, and if you're to the north of this storm, there's a huge lot of rain that could really flood your neighborhood.
Jason, give me a thumbs up. Jason's ready to go. Jason, do the math here. Pretty good.
The enemy holds two objectives. Secure those positions.
Yeah, 11 squared is
We're
121.
getting hit hard.
I would imagine, yes, if Jason joining us, he's 11.
Securing objective Charlie.
Years old. Let's continue on in the queue. We got some that we're gonna. We're going.
Hostile care package deployed. In the area.
Do you know how high the number would have to be for me?
Securing objective Bravo.
You had the math like that, but it took you an extra minute to figure out that he's 11 years old.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that part. Well, because
Mission
once I
failed.
see like a
Return
math
to
problem,
base.
I see the square root of 121, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's 11. I don't even think of anything else until after the fact. But I would have to say something in the order of like 2,400. I'm not going to say the square root of 2,400 or something.
Hopefully we're making
because that's how old I
some
am.
folks
Oh, that's
smile
awful, isn't it?
out there, you guys.
That made me sad.
Todd, looks like he's watching in the shop, man. He says, yeah, in my office garage. Todd, thank you for joining the program. Good to see you in good spirits. And we've got, is that, okay. Mickey sending this one in from Johannesburg, South Africa.
Whoa. Cool.
The
weather's a lot better there.
From South Africa. I'd love to know what the weather's like.
That laugh, Pokey, scared me, bro.
Let's see. This is the one that made me smile. So this is funny. Look, I don't think Swaggy here is worried. He says that he left Madeira Beach.
That's
and
good.
he flew out of St. Petersburg, and it was yesterday, and that he is now at the Midwest.
Hey,
Cigar
don't be
Lounge
shy. You got a
watching the
mic.
coverage,
Top.
getting updates, and enjoying a cigar. Swaggy, I salute you. Wish I was right there next to you. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for watching. I'm sure you're concerned about your home or your property or your business, whatever it may be in Madeira Beach. Sending you, warm wishes, and hopefully everything is okay for you and your family during the storm.
So Johannesburg is 68 right now. 47% humidity. 81 degrees for a high.
What's the hurricane outlook in Johannesburg?
It's not going to rain till next Tuesday.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Next
Gonna
up
be dry
in
for
the
7
queue,
days.
Kelly is joining us from Wesley Chapel. Working from home and watching Track in the Tropics with a warm cup of coffee. That's awesome.
I had a warm cup of tea about an hour ago.
Kill confirmed.
It's not warm anymore.
Eliminate hostiles. Secure their tag.
Thank you for joining us. Raven is watching from Melbourne, Florida.
Tag secure. Kill confirmed. Secured the lead.
She's holding something. It looks like she's trying to give you a drink.
Oh,
I
look
think
at
that's
that.
a cookie cup.
Really? Is that what I need?
She wants
For this
Enemy in the AO.
That's pretty funny. More. Look at this. This is a family. Wow. Evacuating. This is
Which I bet is the parking lot.
Heading towards the lane. They are in the whole family there. And look at that. You're not going to be able to see out the rear view mirror.
Motherfucker.
You're making a decision that you feel is best for you and the family. And you
Good
really
decision. You know, take your valuables.
I'm reloading.
Load your car.
Enemy UAV. Confirmed.
Nothing wrong with that.
We've lost the lead.
Incoming.
up. Gonna be Joe. I don't know what this one is. Punta Gorda. Controller,
We've taken the lead.
I'm missing something
Furry
here, right?
Xbox? I don't know.
Or
Throwing grenade.
watching this on Xbox? I don't even know.
Can you?
Friendly UAV on station.
Go, I'm sorry. Like I see the Xbox. Yeah, no. Enjoy Xbox, I guess is all that I can say.
Grenade.
More that I want to add in here. And one more in here.
The enemy's taken the lead.
No, motherfucker.
Ensure that we
We've secured the
are,
lead.
not getting into too much trouble, and also to staying focused on here on videoplay.com.
We've lost the lead.
I'm reloading.
People out there that are staying weather aware.
The enemy is gaining ground. Push them back.
Watch your fire. That was close.
Bring it on.
Secured the field. Mission accomplished.
Streaming live right now on WFLA.com. You can bring it up to WFLA.com and updates all of the statistics that you need to know about the mission. They're on our website. You see that our next stream begins in 58 minutes. We will see you then. Everybody out there, make sure you eat, hydrate, take care of your pets. We'll be back in about an hour.
Orlando, low-lying areas that typically flood, if you get 10 inches of rain, you could be in a similar case, but this is moving a lot faster than Ian, so I don't think we're going to see anything more than 10 to 12 inches of rain in Orlando.
If you don't believe in inland impacts, like far inland, look at what just happened with Helene.
Yep.
Anyone got a mic on my team?
At 20 plus miles per hour, different speed tier for sure. But I mean, if anybody thinks that Orlando can't see significant damage or significant flooding
Confirmed.
as a result of this storm, you're just not paying attention to the science here. All of our meteorologists are that there's reason to believe that a large swath of Central Florida is going to be under significant
Kill confirmed.
Let's put the P and Diddy on these people. All right.
Drop the tags.
and have a plan because there are areas on the coast.
And I do think in this case versus Ian, you may not get as much rain, but the wind is going to be a lot stronger.
We have taken the lead.
Even though Ian was stronger at landfall, it took a little while before it made its way to Orlando. I think it was moving.
Confirm that one.
Pretty slow. You know, but here, this storm.
Hey, little bitch.
15, 17 miles an hour, 18, you know, and so hold its own for a little while.
Tag secure.
So
Kill
in the Orlando
confirmed.
area, it's very possible that you'll have category wind, or at least wind gusts
Come on, peek, you little pussy.
up to 100 miles an hour. So
There you
that
are.
will provide, unfortunately, a lot more
Okay.
even only 10 to 12 inches of rain. But, flooding and wind coast landfall. Obviously, the worst case scenario, JB, would be like
Holy shit, these kids are ass.
going straight to Orlando because it's a little bit closer to the east. But still, this storm could do a lot of damage to Orlando.
Alright, maybe not. Alright, yeah, just fucking camp. Alright. Little bitch.
Jason is joining us from and Howard. Jason, thank you very much. Again, video questions can be sent into WFLA.com/report.
Bro, like, I just killed you. And you want to come to the same exact fucking spot? Like, how fucking retarded are you?
So first up, Jason joining us from Bayshore, and Howard in Tampa.
Nice one.
I'm at Howard Bayshore. We're in a mandatory evacuation zone A. I just remember and if we're looking at worst case scenario.
Alright, let's go, boys. Let's fucking push. Fucking go, boys.
Area being underwater.
Alright, bitch.
Kill confirmed.
No, we don't have.
I've counter UAV. Friendly mosquito deployed.
Yeah, so the number one mandatory evacuation zone. So
No.
appear to be in building. But what I'm most concerned about is, like you said, the if this turns slightly to the north,
Enemy UAV active.
I guarantee it. So, people want you to
Alright, there were fucking 3 of y'all on me.
those cars on the ground level there if, again, there is a 10 to 15 foot storm surge. So,
Confirmed.
I always say, I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Hostile UAV in the area.
Concerned about your building, whether it's these sturdies or whatnot, that's up to you. But it's a vehicle that you're probably going to lose if you do. And yeah, the water could be several feet. Now our station is elevated, all right? So on the walkway, you're going several feet. So we were nowhere near, being inundated with water.
Kill confirmed.
But we couldn't get out, okay? Unless you wanted to walk through that. And so by the next morning at all that water was gone. So 8 to 10 hour period of time.
Mission time is half complete.
Secure
Copy. UAV orbiting the AO. Recon is online.
The thing is, I mean, you'll be without power, most likely. You're not going to have a car if you leave your car in that parking lot, and this takes you more normal traffic. So, I guess
Enemy UAV
the
active.
storm surge takes a little bit longer to recede, so I would say maybe sometime Thursday afternoon, evening. You're not going to be, stuck in your place for days, because of storm surge water. Once the wind dies down, eventually that water does recede, and it doesn't take all that long to recede. It moves out. A lot of people can't believe how fast it moves in, and it does. But it's about the same, So I wouldn't be concerned about you being sick. I'd be concerned about, sitting on the ground floor.
That was not right.
There in the parking lot, getting flooded out.
That was unjustified murder.
The video question, the location is in Davenport, so let's go to her.
Hi guys, I'm here in Davenport, Florida, and we're just wondering should be we're in Portland. It looks like the eye is headed to the phone. So any guidance on that would be greatly appreciated.
They're overwhelmed. Keep it.
Polk County, very close to Celebration. The eye is going to move very
Friendly mosquito active.
but you have to go in a more sturdy structure.
In a manufactured home, yeah,
I
we're
hate
gonna
to say
err
it.
on the side of caution.
Once you get to 50, 60 miles per hour, it's not safe. Even at that, even maybe in a tropical storm, we saw what happened.
Check your fire.
With modular homes numerous carports were just, and I say it all the time, most of the time those roofs are attached to your roof and your actual house. So the carport roof goes, then it starts peeling back your roof, and you get so I would definitely go out.
We have secured the field. Mission accomplished.
Good game.
Good game.
GG.
Yeah, good game.
More questions in the queue. And then we'll
famous.
to see what the NHC track does. Does it narrow? Does it move south? Or does it stay really right there on Anna Maria Island and the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, in that general area? Look, the 5 o'clock advisory, I hope you join us at 5 o'clock Eastern, because we'll be streaming for it, and it will be really interesting to see what movement we get with the NHC track.
And we're definitely going to focus. So the cone in time is going to narrow. That's, so as the storm gets closer, the cone is going to
It already
shrink
has narrowed,
either way.
yeah.
And in time, the cone, that's what cones are. They start out small and they get out. Okay, so whether the models are more in agreement or not, which they're still not in agreement, the cone is still going to shrink. What I'm more concerned about is, where is that center line? So you see where the center line is right now, and it's pretty much right over Anna Maria Island. Is that center line going to go south? The wobble tracker right now is still showing an east-northeast movement, okay? The NHC track is more straight northeast, right? As you can see. So this is moving, JB, north of east. But the jet still hasn't quite picked this up yet. So for now, it's holding that track that it's had basically over the past 2 hours or so since the 2 o'clock update. But it's definitely staying to the south of it. So again, when the models pick up the new location of the storm, when they initialize the runs coming up at 18 feet.
Hard point. Secure the target area.
Or further to the south. Let's see if that relates further south.
We've taken the lead. Hard point compromised. Secure the area.
I do believe what I want folks here.
Enemies inside the perimeter.
Damage out. Got a lot of loved ones there, family.
Changing max.
But
hard point compromised. Secure the area.
Jeff said, unfortunately,
taking effective fire.
1,000 homes or however many homes are around the day will not be 20 miles.
Fading here.
It's very important because this is north.
Incoming!
And I are going to be right here. We're going to see it right out
Hostiles
here.
launched a cruise missile. Hostile UAV in the area. Throwing grenade! Reloading!
Gotcha, out of the bay.
Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area. Fire! Changing max! Throwing grenade! Taking effective fire! Hardpoint compromised. Changing max! Enemies inside the perimeter. Hardpoint relocated. Throwing grenade! 1-1 requesting recon at this time.
Copy. UAV is on station.
Hardpoint relocated. Stand by. Online. Reloading. Hardpoint relocated. Secure the target area.
Our track continues to
UAV is bingo.
Reloading.
You understand when I talk about the cone? Look, the model consensus, JB, is way out there. But that's only because
Friendly SAE on the way. Enemies inside the perimeter.
you got one to go through.
Secure the area. Confirming next target. Stand by. Friendly cruise missile deployed. Target area. Friendly cruise missile approaching target. 1-1 requesting recon. Frag out! Inside the perimeter.
If this track clear
Friendly FAE inbound. Enemies inside the perimeter. Throwing grenade! Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area.
And now you're seeing
Hardpoint relocated. Stand. Mission time is half complete. Friendly remote turret deployed. Hardpoint relocated. Secure the target area. Enemies inside the perimeter. I'm reloading! Trophy system. Changing mag! Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area.
I'm the way to the model before they ran shit. Right? What is this?
Throwing grenade! Changing mag! Changing max! Enemies inside the perimeter.
Dropped them!
On your six! Run some! Throwing grenade! Enemies inside the perimeter.
No way.
Around! Enemy UAV active. Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area. Inside the perimeter. On your six! Stand by.
We
secured the field. Mission accomplished.
Premature. We are going to find out at 5 o'clock. Are going to be signing off. Do everything that we need to do off camera. So stepping away from the microphones are myself and Eric Stone. We will be back at approximately 5 o'clock p.m. with the major update, the advisory from the National Hurricane Center on the latest with Hurricane Milton. Again, a Category 4 storm. Wobble tracker remains up. We can monitor the progress all